Fear Street, Part 2, 1978, was a lot more inferior to the predecessor. Now, for anyone that's not familiar, the Fear Street trilogy is a set of films for Netflix, and they kind of take and borrow little pieces, just for tribute's sake, of other iconic horror films. Like this one right here, mostly is reminiscent of Friday the 13th. It takes place at a very similar summer camp, and there's lots of bullying, lots of harassment, lots of really unlikable characters, and that's ultimately why this movie sucks. See, I actually like the first Fear Street film. I thought that stylistically it was very, very well done. I thought that there were some really cool kills in it. Because sometimes with the horror films and gore fests, sometimes there actually can be some good death scenes in it. And sometimes the gorier, then the more creative that they are, then that's cool stuff there. But with this one right here, this was just it's okay. One reason why the first Fear Street film was good, another reason is because it did a good job in actually transporting us to 1994. And it had good music played throughout the whole thing, and as I said, stylistically, it was very well done. All the lights and just the general look of the first Fear Street film was enough for me to not turn it off, and for me to go on and actually get invested in some of these characters. Now, sure, the first Fear Street film didn't really have a whole lot of really good characters and good acting per se, but it had just enough, and I eventually grew to like them. But that's the first Fear Street film. This Fear Street film is terrible by just about all measures. Okay, so it's directed by Lee Janiak, who also did the first and the last Fear Street films. And I just remember thinking, okay, this is gonna get better. It's gonna get better. I'm gonna grow to like some of these characters. Okay, if there's a horror movie where you don't care about any of the characters, it's basically just a freak show. Case in point, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Good freak show. Didn't really grow to like any of these characters. There wasn't really much rooting interest. I mean, sure, you wanted the girl to survive just because of that family, but you didn't really. But yeah, she wasn't really well developed or anything. But with this one right here, you don't get a whole lot of good kills. You don't get a whole lot of good gore, and you don't get you don't get much. Like whenever the kills come, they're kind of few and far between. Really, the only good kill that this movie has is one guy getting axed to the face. The reason why this movie doesn't really have a whole lot of good death scenes is because most of the thing it tries to be stylistic, but it fails at it. Most of the kills are done with in shadows, and we don't really get to see we get to see all the blood and just going to show how bad the movie is. So what's the movie about? The movie takes place of course all the Fear Street films are connected, and so the kids that I grew to like in the first film eventually go to meet one of the survivors from the 70s, and so she tells the story of when she was at a camp as a teenager. And when she's at camp as a teenager, she, her and her sister encounter some crazy supernatural witch stuff, and yeah, eventually just anarchy ends up happening in the place. And yeah, the movie is it's very, as I said, it's very reminiscent of Friday the 13th. Yeah, need I say more? At least Friday the 13th films, I'm not a fan of all of them, but they actually made an effort to be quality films. This one right here, okay, well, why is this film so bad aside from it being very unstylistic and not having any good death scenes? Okay, well, I could not stand these characters. Like, oh my god, these people. Okay, yes, they're all bad actors, worse than in the first Fear Street film. But okay, I could not wait for every single character to just die. I wanted them to just get the worst killing possible. They are so annoying, so repugnant, so obnoxious, so stupid. Oh my, like, I'm gonna get myself freaking corner if I keep talking about these losers. Yeah, I want these characters to just get axed as soon as possible. When I look, okay, obviously not all of them were going to. Some of them were like leading actors and actresses, stars of the film. Okay, and I get that that in a horror film, there's got to be some unlikable character, so that when they do get killed, you feel some happiness there. You feel relieved. But with this one, yeah, not only did I feel relieved when some of the characters died, I actually wanted everyone at that camp to die. Just, oh my god. Now, not all the characters in the first Fear Street film were likable, but some of them were. And, I haven't seen the final Fear Street film just yet, but yeah, that one. Okay, the first one takes place in 1994. This one, 1978, and the next one. I don't know if it's like 100 years or whatever. I'm still like, yeah, I'm just so. Just talking about this Fear Street film gives me a big headache. So, yep, this movie's pretty bad. On a scale of 1 to 4, my usual rating's sake, 4 being great and 0 being a really bottom of the barrel, maybe even worse, I'm going to give Fear Street 1978 1 star.